aperture I'm getting now, maximum, is 8. Hi there. Sometimes photographers reach a point when they're embarrassed, maybe almost feeling inadequate, and there's nothing to be worried about. It happens to us all. It normally comes when you've got a telephoto lens like this and you think, and you see other photographers with a much bigger one. You think they can get further than I can. They can take photos, things in the distance that I can't. Well, you've got two choices. You buy a much bigger zoom lens, or you get one of these, which is a teleconverter. This is by FujiFilm. It's a 1.4 times teleconverter. What I have here is a 70 to 300 zoom lens, which is a nice range, but sometimes it might be nice to get a bit further. So with this slapped in between the camera and the lens, we'll convert this from 300 to 420, which sounds pretty good, but in practice, is it going to be any better than me just getting the images up on screen and cropping to the same thing? Now obviously there is a difference between cropping and zooming in, changes in depth of field and things like that, but is it going to give me enough to make that difference? Is it worth your money getting one of these? Well, today I'm going to find out. So I'm going to take some photos with this without using it, and some with using it, and then I'll get them up on the computer and just see if it makes a big difference. So I'm going to take some photos of this scene in front of me at maximum, see what difference I can get. Now there is a difference in aperture, because with this at the moment, the widest aperture I can get at 300 is 5.6. But let's slap this on now. Right, so I now have the teleconverter on, as you can see. So let's give this same scene a go at maximum. Now the maximum aperture I'm getting now with this on is 8. So if you want to shoot in low light, it's probably not the best idea, especially if you're handheld like I am. So let's take a couple of shots. Okay, we're going to try a few more. Let's go. Okay, nothing overly exciting, but there's a sign behind me which you probably can't make out in this video, but I think it's a 30 miles an hour sign for boats. in the river, obviously. So I'm going to try with the teleconverter on and off, and to see the detail in the sight, see if it remains the same or whether it deteriorates at all. Let's give this a go. Can't film it because I haven't got the tripod with me at the minute, but you'll see the results in a sec. Now this tree behind me, I have to take a photo of it every single time I'm here. I kind of prefer it in the winter when it's got nothing on it, when it's bare, but seeing as we're here, let's give the telephoto converter a go on this. So I've got some people in the background sitting on a bench. I'll give this a go with the two options. Looks like a kestrel flying around up here. I'm just going to have a quick go, put the teleconverter back on, and then see if I can capture it. There's an issue, you see. By the time you've actually changed over to the converter, well, it's gone. Hi. Well, it's been a little while since I did that video. You've seen the results of some of the pictures I took, and I just wanted to get a better look at the images on screen with you guys. So will I be able to notice a difference using the telephoto and cropping the images? Is there much difference? Also, is there any difference in the quality, adding that extra piece of equipment in between the camera and the lens? Let's have a look. Okay, so this is the first image I shot of this gate here across the field. Now, this image on the left here is using the teleconverter, and the image on the right is just simply cropping. Now, first off, they don't look any different to me at this level, so I think we need to zoom in a bit. So let's see if I can match the zoom here. Something like that, I think. So again, I'm not really getting a great deal of difference. So the bokeh at the back, the out of focus part, yeah, I'm not really picking up a lot of difference. Let's zoom in again on this Obviously we're massively zoomed in, we're really pixel keeping now, which is kind of a no-no, but if we're looking at this plant here, you can see absolute massive difference in quality, which I'm really surprised about. The cropped one, that's quite nice and sharp there. This isn't. Now we can't rule out whether this was moving at the time this one was taken, so there's a bit of motion blur there. I don't know, but what about the fence? I would say this is sharper. Don't know what you guys think. Certainly in here you can see a bit more definition in these cracks. Right off the bat, I'm saying it's 1-0 to the crop. The 40 megapixel sensor on the X-T5 does allow for a lot of detail, and it makes it easier to crop an image without losing too much detail, and I think that has kind of proved it with this for me. So I'm going to open another image. Okay, this next image is of the tree that you saw me standing in front of. Again, image on the right is the cropped from the normal image, and then the left one is using the teleconverter. There isn't a massive difference, although these branches in the background here look a bit softer than these ones. Whether that's a difference with the focal length, I'm not sure, because I shot both of these at f8. All of these I shot at f8 just to make sure we have a fair comparison. So let's zoom in at a stupid zoom. Again, I think the crop is sharper. Not mass, or is it? I don't know. This is a hard one to tell, really. There's certainly a difference with these branches in the background. Again, that may be a difference in the focal length, but I think I'm preferring this one. Don't know, it's not so easy to call on this one. Let's move over a little bit. What we are getting, I think, is a bit more fringing on here. Can you see that? Bit of chromatic aberration. And there's certainly a lot less on this one. And these edges look a bit odd, don't they? Oh, it's this, isn't it? Let's just look at the bottom of this image. Again, this is a lot sharper. So for me, I'm thinking it's 2-0 to the crop. Let me know if you agree on this one. Now I've got these zoomed out, to my eyes, even at this zoom, this one still looks a bit sharper to me. I've got one more to look at next. Okay, the next one, we've got these two people here. Obviously they're not completely identical because people move. Just looking at them like this, I don't see a great deal of difference. For some reason Photoshop's opened these a different way around, so we've got the cropped version on the left and the teleconverter one on the right. But what I can see is that the background looks a bit softer than the crop one. So let's have a zoom in. I think the crop is sharper, especially if you look at this guy's hair. You can see, I think, more individual strands here than you can on this one. I would say this is sharper. This just looks a bit, I don't know, messy on the edge here, whereas you can see these individual strands more clearly. Can we read the can on both of these? Right, okay, instantly this one on the crop is sharper. Now we can't really make out what it says here, but you can kind of see the separation in the letters. Again, I shouldn't really be looking at them this close, but it does help you compare, and you can actually see in the jeans here the detail. The stitching around here is a bit sharper on the crop. That's interesting to see that. So yeah, again, I would say the crop is better. The background is softer on the teleconverter version, which people may prefer, but I don't think it's a big enough difference to bother me, if I'm honest. It's the subject and the detail and the sharpness in the subject which is what's important to my eyes. So to conclude then, is this teleconverter worth it? Or do we stick with this zoom lens and just crop? Judging by those images, I would say this isn't worth it. Now that's me personally. You may have other ideas and that's absolutely fine, but I do not see the benefit. So this is probably going to be sold. I did get this second hand at a good deal, so it's not too much of a big issue. Maybe I'll get some cash for the next bit of equipment that I just don't need. Oh well. So thank you for watching. I hope you found that interesting, and we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks a lot.